Hunker down more than a hunker to a hunk and a hunker down. Have you not heard the word or the phrase hunker down more times in your life? I haven't. I mean, I don't know what's worse. Having to wear this getup, the pandemic, or having to hear the phrase hunker down a million times. Hunker down. Oh. Anyway, giving an update on current situation of the pandemic. I'm here in California, hunkered down, and show you some of my things I've got over the decades. I got this mask from China about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. Have not opened it yet for obvious reasons. I just got this mask the other day. One size fits all. We'll see how that situation, see if that's accurate. You know, it said copper fit. It's only $9.99. Thought I'd give it a shot. And, we got the standard plethora of these ones. You know, I'm wearing one of these bad boys. And I did order this one from China. And I did open it up after about a month. And I have not worn it yet. I don't recommend this one. They say it doesn't filter. Let me take a couple things off here. Whew. They say it doesn't. Does this even work? Good Velcro situation going on. They say that. My goodness. I guess one of the filters fell off. Speaking of the filters, they say the filters protect you, but they don't protect people who can breathe in what you're exhaling. So this is only for the selfish people that don't care about anybody else. But yeah, masks are to help prevent spreading the virus to other people. If you might be unknowingly carrying the stuff that we all know that more than dreams are made of, but viruses are made of. And personally, I did have a lung flu in early, we're talking January, February. I had a lung flu. I don't think it was COVID because that's too early, right? They say the first cases were April, maybe March at the earliest. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. I've had lung flu multiple times. I had it 1 year ago. I had it in January, February. I don't like it. It's not fun. It's very much not fun, but I don't think it was the big corona. So, they say Mel Gibson had it. He was in the hospital for a week. Tom Hanks had it. Many people have gotten it. It's a real thing. I'm the hoax hunter. It's not a hoax. Never was. Better safe than sorry. You ever hear that phrase saying? Yeah. Most definitely. I have seen people scared. They're literally scared out of their minds. They're too scared to do the smallest things. So don't let fear overtake you, but don't pack yourself in a packed mosh pit of a location where you're going to get more than just the big C. You might be getting some other C's while you're at it, based on the proximity. I'm not an expert by any means. I do like Bill Gates' approach. I don't like the conspiracy world. I'm anti-conspiracy. You know, the Earth is a sphere, all right? Christopher Columbus didn't prove the Earth was round. 1,000 years before Christopher Columbus was born, there were drawings depicting what they thought. About 1,000 years before Christopher Columbus was born, they knew the Earth was a sphere. But some fringe scientists thought the Earth was half of a sphere, like a half an orange cut in half. But you go a couple hundred years past that, they all knew it was a sphere. Christopher Columbus proved that the Earth was bigger than we thought. Christopher Columbus had a small Earth theory. Not a flat Earth theory, but a small Earth theory. He wanted a trade route from Europe to China because he thought he was going to hit China. He didn't know he was going to hit a huge continent, or so the mythology goes. Obviously, history is written and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten, changed and changed and changed. I guarantee you, whether Christopher Columbus proved the Earth was bigger than he originally intended with that small trade route or not, I think that story's likely accurate. He didn't know it was bigger. He didn't know there was a huge continent. Let's say he heard rumors there was a huge continent. If the Vikings heard about the rumors of a huge continent, of course, Christopher Columbus's time, they're going to know about the rumors. But it wasn't charted, all right? We have that much in concrete evidence. It wasn't charted. So they have a big sea monster on the chart when it's America right there. But it's pretty crystal clear that Christopher Columbus landed, if you really want to know a secret here, Christopher Columbus landed in Colombia. That's why it's named after him. And America was... Amerigo Vespucci landed in America a couple months before Christopher Columbus made his way from Colombia up to America. That's why America is named after Amerigo Vespucci. He beat Christopher Columbus in that race. Viking settlers, you can see that in Canada, but they didn't like it for some reason or another. Perhaps they were driven off by natives. That is definitely a possibility. Back to the matter at hand. You know, there is no matter at hand. This video is totally impromptu. I don't have any... And when I see people wearing masks their entire video, and you know they're nowhere near another person, it's a joke, all right? You don't need to wear a mask in front of other people. I just wanted to show off my masks. I've never opened this. I paid about $4.99 for it. I will open it up. You know, I see these advertised for 20 bucks, so I don't think $5 is too bad. Okay. I think this is more of a ninja type deal. Okay, let's see what we got. First time I'm opening it up. It's a good size. I like it. Very ninja. Ninja qualities going on. Okay, yeah. Now this is definitely one size fits all for adults. I could tell by looking at it. That's what it was advertised as, but this is actually telling the truth here. They do have depictions. You can wear it like this. You can wear it like that. You can actually wear it as a headband. But let's see what happens. I can actually see through this a little bit. Okay. This one's actually comfortable. It's not half bad at all, man. I actually wouldn't mind wearing this at the store. It's more comfortable than I thought it would be. I can breathe through it pretty nicely. It's very thin, so it probably offers minimal protection. It's going to offer a lot less protection than this one right here. And if you want optimal protection, wear 2 masks. Oh wow, it's hard to get to the ears when you have them covered up by the mask. But yeah, this one, I like it. For the money, you know, you want to rob a bank, pretty efficient. It's pretty nice. You want to rob a bank, you go in like this. No, but seriously, people are taking advantage of the mask policy. There are many states that have masks banned years ago. Old laws to prevent bank robbers. Those laws didn't really apply on Halloween, and those laws obviously don't apply during the pandemic. What else we got here? We got some gloves I've never worn. I've worn these ones a couple times. I wanted them to be breathable on one side, and you know, people will wear these for work, but I just wanted it for going to the grocery store. You know, I actually did wear those at the grocery store one time. And here is even nicer ones I have yet to wear. Because to be honest, I'm just going to pop a bunch of hand sanitizer and prefer hand sanitizer over wearing gloves. I don't like sweaty hands. I don't think anybody does. This video doesn't really have a theme, alright? Other than showing you little bit of tips and tricks that you already know at home. All right, but let's give this copper fit a fit and see if it fits. I did open it previously, did take a look at it. It looked a lot smaller than the other one, but it's thicker than the other one, so it's going to offer better protection on a thickness scale. Doesn't look that small. Looks pretty big actually. Let's give it a shot. I don't know where the front is, but I will have the logo on the back, and let's see what happens. Okay, it's a mega snug fit compared to the other one. Oh my goodness, alright. This is a little bit too tight for my liking. This is a little bit too tight for my tastes. It's not really one size fits all. It's one size fits Hannibal Lecter. All right, it's just, there's just something there's something a little bit freaky, a little bit too tight about this. So maybe someone with a smaller head would be more comfortable. Okay, you know what? I just got a copy of a book, a new book that just came out. Val Kilmer's new book. It's called I'm Your Huckleberry by Val Kilmer. His new memoir, Val Kilmer. I'm a fan of Val Kilmer. I collect Val Kilmer artwork. He's made a number of paintings over the years. I don't know how the art world has really responded to his art. He can't really use his voice that much anymore. So it's hard for him to act in many roles. He's going to be in the new Top Gun movie. I don't know if he has any speaking lines, but we will see. I haven't read the book yet. 2 people I know did read the book. They said he was really good. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to do a review of Val Kilmer's I'm Your Huckleberry. Speaking of reviews, you know what? Wow, is this mail? Okay, I got some mail. I didn't even open. I didn't even know this was here. This is a surprise, even to me, as I didn't know this was here. Let me open up a record. I ordered this record, didn't know it was here, just glanced over, saw a record box sitting there. I'm like, it's interesting. Is that opened or unopened? I have a couple records sitting around here in their boxes like this. The soundtrack to the pandemic. That is what some people have called this record. It's Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters. I'm a fan. I think it's an amazing album. I ordered it. I believe this is the 180 gram double vinyl package from the official Fiona Apple Fetch the Bolt Cutters website. I went on the old Fetch the Bolt Cutters search. Some fans said that's not a real website. Yes, it is real. It was put up by Fiona Apple's record label specifically to sell the album. This is an early printing because I'm one of the early pre-orderers who pre-ordered it. And amazing album. It got 10 out of 10 on Pitchfork. Radiohead's Kid A got 10 out of 10. And they didn't have any 10 out of 10s for like a decade. And I don't necessarily go along with everything Pitchfork says. Oh man, look at this. We have a little bit of cardboard bending. That's unfortunate. But I don't buy records to have them in pristine mint condition. But we're having some cardboard movement, cardboard bending. That's okay. I bought this specifically to play it. I have a turntable, gonna play it. I'm just gonna briefly mention my favorite songs on the album now. Fetch the Bolt Cutters. It's a really striking song about someone, Fiona Apple. It's a very autobiographical album. She put a lot of her heart and soul into it. She worked on it for many years. That is noticeable because every song is listenable. Except for a couple might be considered repetitive. But they're almost repetitive in a magical way. Almost like a magic spell. So there's a couple that do kind of get on your nerves. But they still sound genius. You still can't deny I couldn't do that. And I can't even remember that one song that really repeats itself. But some people say that the song Ladies repeats itself. And it does. She says ladies, ladies, ladies. My favorite part of the Ladies song, and the Ladies song has really grown on me. The first time I heard it, I was like, it's alright. Second time I heard it, oh, that's pretty good. I heard it on the radio twice, and then I listened to it again and again and again. I probably heard the song 20 times at this point, and it's one of my favorite songs on the entire album, Ladies. Why? Because there's a Buttonhead part, my favorite part. She's talking about Buttonhead. Buttonhead? I think the entire song should have been called Buttonhead and just cut the ladies part out. Yes, it's great. It's about ladies. It's about sisterhood and ladies being great and all. That's true. But the Buttonhead part of the song is the most genius part of the song, in my opinion. She cuts away and like does a separate song within a song. You see that often with second, third, and fourth, and fifth bridges and choruses mixing together. That's what a lot of talented musicians do these days. They'll have 3 different choruses, not just one chorus repeating itself. There's easily 2 or 3 different choruses and or bridges, call it what you want. In Ladies, the Buttonhead part's my favorite. But my favorite song in the entire album, when I first listened to it, was I Want You to Love Me. The music in the background, genius. Very, very well done. She goes off and people say sounds like a dolphin at the end of the song, just playing with her voice. That doesn't hurt the song at all. I think it's a good ending. It's a good beginning. It's a perfect song. Shamika is a very calculated yet perfectly flowing, beautifully written, poetic song about Fiona getting dissed by people, probably in high school or college. Who knows when these events took place. She might even be making scenarios up in replace of real events that took place, but it seems like an actual incident that took place. Someone named Shamika, or maybe she changed the name, I doubt it. kind of dissed her, saying, you got some potential," after hearing Fiona's musical talent, which is pretty crystal clear. But even I'm not a huge Fiona Apple fan. I liked her Across the Universe cover, her Beatles cover. I liked a couple of her other songs. I could tell she's clearly talented, but not until this album came out did I really realize how talented. I recognize a genius musician when I hear one. And Bjork, I think, is one of the top genius female musicians in the world. Musicians, period. And I think Fiona is close up there with Bjork, but not as high as Bjork. Bjork's the best of the best. The tip of the tip top. Listen to every Bjork song ever put out, and you will hear Bjork is undeniably genius. I have not heard every Fiona Apple's songs or albums, so I can't really judge on the other ones. All I know is every single song of this album I'm happy to listen to over and over and over and over and over. Drum set is pretty catchy. Cosmonauts is pretty cool. Heavy Balloon is one of my favorite songs on the album. Heavy Balloon. A lot of themes in this album are just, downtrodden. People treat her like dirt. She turns that into something beautiful. Not often can you turn something negative into something so positive. This is an example of pure perfection, alchemical perfection. She alchemically turned something into something else. Negative experiences, working on them, turning them into songs, beautiful songs. And it's an awesome album. I recommend you check it out. There's more albums. There's more songs on here that I really like, but I don't want to talk about that the whole video. I like that album so much I ordered 3 copies because I'm such a fan of vinyl records. I wouldn't consider myself an audiophile. I only have one crummy turntable, but I'm gonna get it working, fixed, make it good to go. And it's a hydraulic reference transcriptors, which real audiophiles make fun of. But the thing's a work of art. It's beautiful. And beautiful albums on a beautiful turntable, that's what I enjoy. I also enjoy getting rare editions of vinyl records. So I ordered that one. That's the black 180 gram from the official Fiona Apple website. I got one from Vinyl Me Please, I think it's called. I signed up just for the purple periwinkle violet, whatever they're going to call it. They're going to give it some fancy name. I can't remember. But the purple colored limited mega rare edition. I wanted to get it before people try to quadruple the price. I don't want to pay the quadruple price. I just paid the standard price. And then I got a third version from, I can't remember where, some record store, a very popular one online. So I'm going to have 2 more copies because in the past I've ordered this album from a different band and I'm like, yes, I got the green one, yeah. And then they're like, oh, you didn't get the turquoise one? The transparent turquoise? No, I didn't get the transparent turquoise. I got the one that's green with the exact same price tag. Yeah, but this one's limited and this one's worth 500 times more. Oh, thanks for telling me. So I just wanted to cover my bases and get all 3 versions. At this point, there's probably 3 more versions, 3 more colors, but they're not going to be as rare as the earlier ones. So no plans on this video. I did buy, in my, let me just tell you about dreams, all right? I bought a musical instrument. I had a dream about this musical instrument in 2017. After watching the movie Blade Runner 2049, Blade Runner 2, the sequel Harrison Ford as the original Blade Runner, and Ryan Gosling as the newbie Blade Runner. Very cool movie. Very awesome movie. I don't know if they can have a third one, but the director, the original director, directed it. And you could tell that's probably the last Blade Runner he's going to direct. But it's a very cool series. Big fan. Specifically, the flying cars in Blade Runner 2049. You can hear some phenomenally amazing space-agey, futuristic music played by an unknown instrument. Clearly some type of synthesizer. But what synthesizer exactly? I don't know. It sounded to me like an impossible invention. It sounded like a stylophone to me. It sounded like a stylophone. But it went... It went too long. So it's like, stylophones are only this short. The old-fashioned ones may be this big. The sound I'm hearing sounds like it's way bigger. What instrument did that? Either a stylophone, some jerry-rigged, homemade stylophone, perhaps made for the soundtrack for the musician, or a synthesizer mimicking the sound of a stylophone. But in my head, I had a dream, I had a daydream. It was more of a daydream, I'll admit. It's more of a daydream. But a picture popped into my head of what the instrument looked like that made that. And this is exactly what it looked like. In 2017, I had a daydream of this instrument right here. A stylophone with a gigantic, with a huge, not keyboard, but stylophone plate, whatever you want to call it. This instrument didn't exist in 2017, so the soundtrack couldn't have been made with it. This instrument came out in late 2019. This is a brand new instrument. I just bought it secondhand from someone that obviously didn't want it. Either want a stylophone or you don't. This in particular is not a standard stylophone, obviously. This is the granddaddy of all stylophones. I admit, the daydream I had looked exactly this long, exactly this big. And it had probably half as many switches in my daydream. So when I see all of these switches, all of these knobs, my daydream version probably had half the knobs. When I see all these knobs, and when I see the semi-modular inputs, this device is well worth the money. I'm not advertising this. You can't even get it. They only made 500 of them, and I bought the only one online. That's how rare it is. I noticed someone did pop up another one after I bought mine for a little bit more. But it's still a good deal, still a good price. Someone popped up another used one. I think synthesizer fans are a dime a dozen, and they think they can make Tangerine Dream mega hits in their sleep. While they're going to sleep, they just push a button and that'll do the work for you. That's not how it works. Although some of these devices can make phenomenal music if you echo chamber them forever and turn a couple dials and have your cat walk across the keyboard. Sure, some really cool sound effects can pop out. But you have to have some musical talent. You have to have some musical ability. I've been playing with synthesizers since my first album, which obviously wasn't a studio album. It was a home recorded album. My first album is called Draconis, and I released it in 2007? 2007? Somewhere around there, 2007, something like that, Draconis. And I might have changed the title. But original title was Draconis. My second synthesizer homemade album is called, well, it was originally called Non-Existent. And so I didn't know what I was going to call it. I considered it the Non-Existent album. So I basically made an entire album called Non-Existent. And the best of the best Non-Existent tracks went on to my actual second album when I actually came up with a name called Time Portation. So Time Portation, oh, that's right. Draconis, I changed the name to Zorse. Okay, Zorse, yeah. So my first synthesizer album was Zorse, previously known as Draconis. My second synthesizer album is Time Portation, previously known as Non-Existent. And sure, I'm working on a third synthesizer album. I have easily 2 guitar albums. My first guitar album is called Misplace. It's done. Home recorded. Not the best audio, especially on the vocals. The vocal audio is so bad because I only had one mic and you can hear the guitar pretty well. You can't hear my vocals very well. It's just a home recorded project. You've heard a couple clips of it here and there, but no big deal. But this, man, this is literally the instrument of my dreams. I'm going to crank out some amazing stuff with this. I just bought these modular cables and I'm going to play around with that feature. What I've been able to come up with so far has blown my mind. It's specifically called the Stylophone Gen R8. And it's the granddaddy of all stylophones. David Bowie was a big fan of the original stylophone that came out in the, I assume it was the 70s. Could have been the 60s. They considered it a toy. A little toy kids could play with. Really cheap. We're talking like $20 toy where you can make beep, 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 boop, 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 boop. Amusing sounds that a kid could play with. Plug in a battery, play it for fun. David Bowie was such a fan of the original stylophone, he worked it into his albums. He worked it into at least one of his albums. And I know for a fact, if David Bowie was still alive, which he is in spirit, but he can't touch physical objects anymore, he's in the world of ghosts. But if he were physically still manifested, he would be a fan of the Stylophone Gen R8. I guarantee you, he'd have one. I don't know if he would work it into an album, but he would have one, and he'd probably tell his studio musicians, hey, play with that, or maybe he would play with it. I don't know how he worked, but I know that David Bowie was a genius. He's one of those tippity-tip-top. David Bowie was way above Bjork. Bjork really looked up to David Bowie. He's ascended, but we still have Bjork. Bjork is a genius, certified. Fiona Apple, genius certified. Tom York, clearly a genius. Many more geniuses beyond that, but those are some of the musicians I look up to. You might look up to different musicians. No big deal. Everyone has different tastes. What am I doing during this pandemic? Shoot. Eating a lot of chili picante corn nuts, I can tell you that. Not advertising anything. Not here to advertise. I bought a couple pedals. Bought a couple guitar pedals. So when you want to make some really cool synth music with a keyboard, get a guitar pedal. And don't skimp. Don't skimp. I wanted the best echo pedal in the world. And I don't know if I found it or not. But what I've heard so far is pretty phenomenal. Maybe there's a better one that's $20,000. Maybe there's a better one that's twice as much or 10 times as much. But I got one called Dark Sun. It's by Seymour Duncan, a very trusted quality brand. And they clearly made this in mind for not just guitars. They clearly made it in mind for also keyboards. Even their official demo shows it with a keyboard. with a synthesizer. So I'm exclusively going to use this with a synthesizer. It's not a regular echo pedal. It's a phenomenal top tier echo pedal. There are ones 5 times as much, I think do just as good a job, but this is not cheap. Not a cheap guitar pedal. I don't know how much it sells for. We're talking $400, somewhere around there. Not cheap. An expensive piece of musical equipment. I've spent a lot of money on musical instruments. I've already hooked this up to the Stylophone Gen R8. I've come up with some cool stuff, but I've only played with it for literally like 30 minutes. I have to work day in and day out. I have to work tomorrow. I had to work yesterday. A lot of times my days off don't connect. They don't connect this week, they don't connect next week. So sometimes my day off is in the beginning of the week, the middle of the week, and it doesn't connect, and it feels like I'm working 8 days a week. It's 8 days a week. It feels like it. But I have another guitar pedal I picked up, and I'm not talking about the Ibanez Echo Shifter. This is one of my older ones, but it's still a good one. Still works phenomenally. What I like about it is the fade in and fade out option with the fader. You don't see that too often on pedals, especially echo pedals. I've seen some with like 10 faders, and I want to get those. I just like faders for some reason. It's a very cool device, but it's simple compared to the Dark Sun by Seymour Duncan. But so I have two pretty serious echo pedals, and I'm done on the echo pedal front. I don't need any more echo pedals, although I have 2 more echo pedals behind me. I literally have 2 more echo pedals behind me. I have the Toneworks by Korg, the red model, and I recently picked up the Toneworks by Korg black model. So I've been looking for the black model for a couple years. I finally got it dirt cheap, still in the box and everything. It's a very simple echo pedal. I would not recommend if you want a simple echo pedal. If you want something more complex, go for the Ibanez Echo Shifter. Something really complex, go for the Dark Sun. There are echo pedals that I'm sure are 10 times more complex than Dark Sun, but I'm not really willing to go beyond that. This pedal has been described as turning synthy things even synthier. Now, I'm misquoting that. Making synthesizers sound even synthier, something to that effect. I know of a surety that Jack White used this pedal on his song over and over and over. This pedal came out in 2017. Jack White's song Over and Over and Over came out. Long enough after this pedal came out for me to know it was recorded using this pedal. It makes really crazy synthesizer sound effects, and hard to describe. Listen to some samples. You will hear really cool, crisp, almost grungy, cyberpunk, I don't know, but definitely a unique sound comes out of this. So when you have a synthesizer, you want to sound, okay, you're playing, doo, doo, doo. You're like, blow your socks off. This thing can do that, but I think you would need an echo pedal almost to balance out the crudeness that can come out of there. Sometimes it sounds a little bit too 8-bit. It's not 8-bit, but sometimes it can sound too crude. You want to smooth that out with an echo pedal. And I focus on synthesizers, keyboards. I used to own a number of guitars. I currently only own one acoustic guitar. But, you know, I will get back there with an electric guitar one of these days. I'm not a rock star. I just like making music. Now, every single intro, outro you've ever heard on this channel was made by myself. I made every single one. And I get impatient with a project, and I'll plop a demo up there instead of working on it and working on it. I'll just I work on a song for 1 hour. I'm like, let's just get it out there. I'm tired of it. But that's not how I should approach songs. I need to work on the same song for a month straight and actually try to make a decent song that can hold up. Then I can have a permanent theme song for the channel. You would think after all these years I would have a permanent theme song for the channel, but I don't. So I'm going to work on a permanent theme song for Mysterialis Ghost Investigation. Ghost Investigation's coming soon. I was at work the other month. Some dude hands me this. Life's 2 most important questions. I haven't read it. Let's see what it says. All I know is it's hilarious. He hands this to me. I'm like, you're soliciting? Okay. And I took it. Normally I would say, hey, you're not supposed to solicit. Don't solicit. It's not appropriate. You're not supposed to just walk into a business, hand people a solicitation. It's tacky. It's not legal. But it's not necessarily illegal. My alarm went off. No big deal. I got dinner. All right. I got to eat some dinner. But let's read this 2 most important questions. I'm curious. If I had to guess before reading it, it's going to be, do you believe in this and that here and there? If you do, you're going up there. And if you don't, you're going down there. And here's an exact prayer you can read out loud right now. Like a marionette, if you do what we say, you're going up there. If you don't do what we say and be a brainwashed, programmed drone worker bee, then you're going down there. That's just my guess as to what it says. I haven't read it yet. Let's see. Where will I spend eternity? How can I know for sure? Well, that's exactly what I guessed, right? The bad news. Your sins cut you off from God. Them's the breaks. The good news. The good news goes on for a long ways. Good news. His presence, your dwelling place for eternity is. Well, I mean, I'm not sure that's grammatically correct, but okay, I guess that's good news. What have you done with Jesus? You know, that's a third question. You specifically said 2 most important questions. You're throwing in a third one. Oh my gosh, they had to break their own rules and throw in a third question. What have you done with Jesus? Oh, look at this. Who'd have known? Who'd have thunk it? Pray this world's most important prayer. And it's all in red. Pray this world's most important prayer. It's not any prayer. It's the world's best cup of coffee. I mean, it's not any prayer. It's the world's most important prayer. Aloud from your heart. Oh, wait. Hold up here. I have to pray the trademark world's most important prayer from my heart. That's pre-written. And it's just me just being a parrot, puppeteering. Actually, you're the puppeteer, right? Being a puppet in the process of reciting something. How can it possibly be from my heart when I'm a robot? I'm just saying the heart's in the right place, but the actions of people that type this stuff out and print it out and hand it to people, solicit, I wouldn't say, I mean, they're told if they don't that they're bad, but they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Even something like this can be the road to hell, because this tells you to say a prayer from your heart. And then it says, here's the prayer. Exactly say it word for word. It's the world's most important prayer. Any prayer you've ever said is crap and nothing. Any prayer you've ever thought with your actual heart and mind, made up from scratch of yourself, for perhaps others, maybe for a loved one, maybe a pet, maybe whatever the case may be, world peace. That's nothing. Only this one is in neon red print bold, the world's most important prayer. If you don't say exactly this one from your heart, this thing is a contradiction. I'm not looking to say bad things about religion. If you say a legitimate prayer from your actual heart, not this thing, then you're going to be better off. There is a supreme being, and that supreme being can tell if you're reading from a script, from some pamphlet someone handed you, or if you're actually saying a prayer from your actual heart. I would never say don't pray. Prayer is a very important thing. Even people that don't believe should pray. Prayer is important. I need to pray more often. I know that. You can protect yourself with prayer. Call upon the Supreme Being, guardian angels, whatever the case may be. I've had negative entities in my room, literally moving objects, poltergeist entities, not making this up. I'm not fabricating. I'm speaking truth. In 2011, told you the story thousands of times. If you're not familiar with that, then you haven't watched any of my poltergeist-themed videos, which I don't want to focus on. As you can see today, I talked about the masks you can wear. I talked about albums, musical equipment. I would rather talk about fun stuff that doesn't bring people down. The fact of the matter is, negative spirits exist, and when they enter your room, you can say a prayer to a more powerful being. That's something I recommend. Kick them the freak out of your room. And don't say a rote prayer, and I'm never going to say, here's the end-all, be-all, world's greatest prayer that'll kick negative entities out of your room. I would literally say freeball it. Freeball it from your heart. Literally freeball it from your imagination, from your heart, from your mind. Say what comes to mind in terms of a defense mechanism. God, please help me. I don't want to experience this. It's freaking me out. All right? Say it from your heart. Don't say a rote prayer someone wrote for you and commanded you to say. And if you don't say it, you're going to hell. That's not compassionate. That message is a very negative message. I don't believe in that message. I believe in the message of stay positive, keep your mind focused on positivity, and you can overcome literal demonic entities that are moving stuff in your room. Happened to me. I stayed focused. In 2011, I read the book, Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. A book that's considered self-help. A book that's considered, get rich quick. I didn't use it to get rich. I didn't use it for the general purposes of self-help. I used it literally to, okay, there's objects moving from actual entities that are intelligent, showing signs of intelligence. You've seen the show Ghost Adventures. They'll go into a basement of a 1800s bar. because the owner is complaining, hey, you know, there's something down there. It's not a rat. There's an actual being shifting objects in my basement. Can you guys please check it out? Make sure it's legit. Get evidence. Tell me what I can do to get rid of this. A lot of the times, Ghost Adventures crew don't know how to get rid of it. Perhaps that demon permanently wants that as its nest. They've given that the term. When an entity wants to live in a basement, that becomes its nest to an extent. Very scary situation. A lot of people watching that show, Ghost Adventures, that fan that fell off the table in the basement of that place, probably strings, probably fake. Ghost Adventures crew probably faked it. That's not poltergeist activity. It's a TV show. It's just reality TV. Well, it happened to me in real life in front of my eyeballs, all right? In front of my freaking face. In front of my freaking face, I saw objects moved. It wasn't a magic show, but it looked like a magic show. The thing is, I was the only audience member to the magic show. It's pretty freaky scenario. You're not clapping after such an instance until... Nah, I never clapped. I never egged on, if you will. I never gave any impression, oh, that's all you can do? Try to do better. I never said anything that would compel the entities to even try it again. They just tried it again for 6 months straight. They continually bugged me and harassed me. I think it was some type of pre-possession stage of oppression that actually happened to me. I can't prove it because it happened in 2011 and it's behind me. It's in the past. But I saw those things firsthand with my own eyeballs. It happened. It's a true story. When I see Ghost Adventures, occasionally they'll come across a poltergeist. Even for those guys, it's pretty rare. But they do occasionally capture footage. Poltergeists don't particularly like being filmed for obvious reasons. If they're a trickster entity, they don't want to be filmed. They want to trick and trick and trick and trick mankind for 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 20,000 years, a million years. They're invisible entities in a dimension that we cannot see. Just because they're in a dimension you cannot see doesn't mean they're not there. They are there. Not to freak you out, though. There are higher powers that can kick them out of your presence. So call upon those higher powers, whatever higher powers you believe in. This is not a proselytizing or religion-pushing channel. But stay tuned. More episodes coming soon. Going to be making new music. I wish I had some music I could play for you. I'll try to put together something for the intro outro, but it's going to be very rough and very crude. Only played with these devices for an hour or so since I got them. You can't come out with a masterpiece in 1 hour. You need to play with these devices for literally weeks and months and years on end. I mastered this device right here. I mastered the microkorg. Very common, very simple device. A lot of people have been playing it, blah, blah, blah. I got this device about 2007, about the same time my first album came out, because it was all inspired by this microkorg. This is the original microkorg with real wood on the sides. A lot of people, you see it all the time. I mastered this device. How? I played with it for over 10 years straight, all right? I've literally played with that device for 13 years. I played with the microkorg for 13 years. That's how I mastered it. Played with it for 13 years. So I'm not going to expect to be a master of the Stylophone Gen R8 in 1 year or 1 week or 1 hour. But I'm going to definitely play with it for 6 months. Hopefully come out with something good. Something that will match the vision that I had for it. Especially in conjunction with these pedals. We will see what happens. When you merge these things together alchemically, you can create a masterpiece. Fiona Apple, she used a lot of simple, you could tell, drum beats where she's hitting something. Sounds like a pan in her kitchen. And she came out with a masterpiece of an album. There's dogs barking in the background. She left it in on purpose because it sounded good, and the whole album comes together. Stay tuned. More episodes coming soon. Stay positive during the pandemic. Don't be oppressed by the news. Hunker down. Gotta hunker down and hunker down. Stay tuned. More episodes coming soon. Hopefully a good one where it's not impromptu nonsense Stay tuned. I'm going to do a real video, real ghost investigation. The device hasn't come yet. I got an email saying, your order is delayed. So my device, I've been waiting a couple months, not here yet. When it gets here, I will go to the haunted location, which is social distancing anyway, since no humans are anywhere near the location, only a spirit and some bats. And there's an owl, and I hear a sorcerer say, they're listening for the voice of a ghost, and they hear an owl go, whoo, 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 and they don't even realize that is the voice of the ghost. First of all, no, going hoo hoo is not the voice of the ghost, all right? The voice of the ghost is the voice of the ghost, and I'm getting the device to hear the voice of the ghost. We shall see what happens. I hope English comes through. Perhaps Spanish will come through. Saying Spanish phrases, this ghost tends to react to Spanish phrases just as much as English phrases. It definitely shows signs of intelligence. It definitely manifested very short. Now, I don't know. Maybe that's its feet I'm looking at, the manifestation. But when it ran up to me when I'm holding the camera, I'm talking about the grist mill, it shook the camera. I didn't shake the camera. My hand was this. Still. An entity totally invisible to me, so I didn't know he was walking up to me, other than I could hear footsteps. I could hear footsteps, but I couldn't see the footsteps. And then this happens. I'm so focused on the footstep sound in the grass that I didn't even notice at the time that the camera shook. Didn't even notice. I played it back, watched it 30 times, and I hear in the grass exactly match my camera shaking. I was kneeling on a balded dirt area with a couple blades of grass this short, making zero sounds. My hand was as sturdy as my hand could be, like this. Now, if you're focusing on the moon, of course it's going to move a little bit. But this isn't that, all right? This was extreme shaking that I didn't notice because the entity grabbed my camera and shook it. But the entity grabbing my camera and shaking it would have been the height of a gnome, like 1 foot tall. So this tiny gnome-like creature grabs my camera and I didn't notice it. It's kind of like a giant not noticing a tiny insect. Not to compare it to that, but if I could see the creature, I think I would have seen a tiny little gnome. And I do believe gnome folklore is based on spirits. Not going to say more. Stay tuned. More episodes coming soon. Be seeing you.